Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Drone Therapy, the Bucketlist Boys. Drone News Trivia, Season 2, Episode 9. I, myself, am Bill Deadthomas. Thomas, I know, kind of weird, but anyway. I just want to say hi. I'm glad to have you all here, and I'm going to let my co-host introduce himself, Mr. Ron Brown.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight. I have a couple updates on the Xeno, of course. There was a new flight controller and camera update that dropped on Saturday, so we'll get into that a little bit more later. And have a couple other, toy-related drone subjects to talk about, and a couple other interesting stories, including a story about drones and the Super Bowl. So on that note, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Bill H., coming to you from sunny Florida.
Thanks, Ron. It hasn't been so sunny recently, but anyway, big news for the Mavic 2. Waypoints 2.0 is out. We're going to talk about that tonight in detail. Ron and I are going to talk about that. Also, news about the possible Phantom 5 being released and price points and some of the features. We're going to talk about that as well. I also want to talk a little bit about the flight restrictions for the Super Bowl, and those are going into effect, I believe, tomorrow. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. And with that, back to Mr. Bill.
Well, I'm going to say that I have going to continue a little bit more of my DJI rant with those folks. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to have the contest a little bit later tonight. So if you were here last week and you remember those code words to get in, hopefully you'll remember them to get in later. And if not, we may be able to open some things up and get a few people in towards the end of the show. But as you heard the guys mention a moment ago, there's been a lot of stuff going on, like with the smart controller and one update here and one update there. And so with that being said, I'm going to let Ron and Bill have a little back and forth with that and some Phantom 5 rumor. Ron?
Okay. First story we're going to get into is going to mostly be Bill's story, but I'm going to set it up a little bit. Last week we did a show, same time, Wednesday night, probably ended the show about 9:30 and 10, and then just maybe 2 hours after the show's over, DJI drops an update to the app that feature Waypoints 2.0 update. And I guess the firmware update came out to update the Mavic 2, both the Mavic 2s, the Zoom and the Pro. And it was just ironic that, again, it was right after we got the show over with. So I'm going to throw it over to Bill H. He's going to explain this, the details of this in full detail here. So go ahead, take it away, Bill.
Thanks, Ron. First thing is, I got a lot of questions from people regarding why can't I run it? And my first question back to them was, are you on iOS or Android? And almost all of them said Android. Now, one of the interesting things was for the app itself on iOS, it didn't update it. So you had to go in and manually update the app from the Play Store or from the app from the App Store on iTunes. The other thing was, one of the things I found out, a lot of people had updated it, but it didn't show. It didn't take it. So one of the other suggestions was to just delete the app and then reload it, and then it was fine. One of the things that a lot of people had missed on this, the controller had to get updated as well. A lot of people had missed that, and I said, you have to update everything. Don't leave anything out. So yeah, we got that taken care of. Then we found out, Android users still hadn't been updated yet. And DJI put out a tweet to me. They responded back. They said that they're on a staged rollout for that. And then we just saw the other day that they did do a release for the smart controller on Android, but Crystal Sky, engineers are still working on that. So as far as everybody getting it, not everybody's gotten it yet. But those of us that have, and I think David Clucci Tech Time, who I'm real good friends with, he put out an excellent tutorial on how to do the waypoints. It was fantastic. And it helped me because on Saturday morning, that's what I did. I went out and I actually, got it up in the air and did that. And it was very interesting, watching it go from waypoint to waypoint. One of the things that surprised me, though, was the top speed on the dialer when you're setting up the parameters was 17.5 miles an hour, which I thought that's not very fast. Okay. You know, I was kind of like, well, why can't you do that? So I posed that question to DJI, and they said their engineers are going to get back to me and try to answer that. But one of the things that I found was real interesting, and I was talking with Ron about this earlier, was that the aircraft was kind of tilted. It wasn't pointing straight towards the waypoint. It was almost like it was looking for a point of interest. Now, I didn't set up any point of interest on my first flight. I'm going to be doing that this weekend. But one of the things that I did notice was in certain spots of the video, it was a little bit choppy when probably doing some of the turns. And I think that may be one of the reasons why DJI might have limited the speed on it, because I remember, you know, some other ones talking about, especially with the Mavic Air, when they crank that up and they're in sport mode, you know, the gimbal goes kind of a little bit wonky. So I'm thinking that maybe that might be part of the reason why they only, you know, they felt that 17.5 miles an hour was probably the safest one. Now, one of the other things that I'm going to try this weekend too, you have two ways of doing it in terms of like a straight line, or you could do a parabolic curve from waypoint to waypoint. So I'm going to be experimenting with a lot of that. Unfortunately, I was going to do that on Saturday or on Sunday, but we had an all-day rain, so I couldn't get back out there to do that. But all in all, the thing that really probably impressed me the most was how easy and simple it was to set everything up. It wasn't complicated at all.
Bill, can I ask you a question? Did you ever, well, first of all, on the Mavic Pro, the Mavic Pro Classic, they had waypoints on there, but you had to fly to the waypoints first to set them, you know, before you could create a waypoint play. Had you ever tried the old waypoints 1.0 on your old Mavic Pro? And did the Mavic 2s have waypoints 1.0 built into their software?
The Mavic Pro, I did not try that, Ron. And the only waypoints that the Mavic 2 has before this update, that was in the hyperlapse mode. You could use waypoints in there, but that was mostly when you're like, you know, or you know, going around an object type of a thing. It wasn't a real elaborate setup in terms of what you could do with that.
Right. Just for people in the audience here that don't use the Litchi app, they don't have a governor on the speed, as you point out. You said 17, 18 mile per hour. On the Litchi app, you can slide it as fast, I guess, as the drone will fly. You know, like you said, I usually like to go at least 20 miles per hour to make it look like I'm actually moving, especially if you're above. If you go real slow at 200 feet in the air, it doesn't even look like you're moving.
Yeah, and you know, that was the one thing that kind of frustrated me when I was flying it, was watching, you know, I started out with 77% battery, and it ended up being enough. But I mean, it was kind of like, it was like going at a snail's pace. And I was like, okay, let's go here. Let's go. Because I had set 9 waypoints, and I'm like, oh man, I'm probably not going to have enough battery. Battery's probably gonna kick out on me and do a return to home. But no, I did. It got through it pretty fast.
Well, I'm really glad to see them add waypoints 2.0 to the 2 Mavics, because it's I've done some really nice waypoint flights with the Litchi app that I probably wouldn't have been able to do just flying, you know, line of sight, or even with the goggles on or whatever. I just couldn't set it up to that precision that I could, you know, using the Litchi app and pre-planning it on my computer, you know, ahead of time when I'm seeing the whole terrain and, you know, knowing all the details I did. So I think that's, you know, it's going to be a great update. Anybody out there who hasn't used Waypoints 2.0 yet, the Litchi app, please, you know, consider trying it.
Yeah, I have another video coming out, in fact, tonight, with some Q&A that I got from DJI support. So be watching for that later. And that was interesting, some of the responses that I got from them.
Great. And just a little bit of a rant here. I'm not going to do a rant, but now a lot of guys who own the new DJI Smart Controller, they were very upset when Waypoints 2.0 came out, and they couldn't run it on their Smart Controller. Drone Supremacy, Mike from over in Bulgaria, I believe, he made a pretty ranty video on he spent all this money, $650 on this Smart Controller, and he had to get his iPhone back out to fly Waypoints 2.0. What's your take on that, Bill?
Yeah. Here's my thing, Ron, and this is something that I've said all along. All right, you have your two operating systems. DJI should. I mean, I don't know how they work it in terms of doing the software updates. It's probably one team probably does it, and they focus on iOS first, and then they focus on Android. Well, I think they need to. What they need to do is they need to come out simultaneously. I mean, because granted, there are a lot of iOS users, but you know what? Android has gotten very popular over the past few years, and I switched. I went from Apple to Android, and I absolutely, positively, love my Android phone. And for me, I have an iPad Mini 4, which I use for my display, and it's perfect for me. It's a perfect size, and that's why for me, the smart controller. It's just it's smaller than my phone, and that's a little on the small side. But yeah, I think what they should do is everything should come out at once. You shouldn't just have a stay iOS and then Android. Maybe you put your iOS out in the morning, and then maybe later in the afternoon you throw out your Android update for everybody. Just don't do it all at once. Don't wait and stage this kind of thing.
Well, the real problem is not that they like iOS any better than they do Android. The Android actually is the bigger share of the market. But when they test all this stuff and write software for the iOS, all they have to do is make sure it runs on one device, the iPhone. Where when they write it for the Android devices, there's so many people making Android phones. I mean, they have to figure out how many are we going to test it runs on. We're going to make sure it runs on five different Android phones, 10, 15, 20. It's just the manpower thing, really, to make it run on. I mean, they could say, well, there's only runs on Samsung phones, something like that. But Apple's easy because they only have to make sure it runs on one phone. Or Android, they have to make sure it runs on who knows, how far they use 20, 30 phones. So
yeah, you got to, that's a real good point, Ron, because there are so many different Android phones out there. I mean, Samsung, for instance, look how many that they have, and they're coming out with new ones. And to be able to get it to work, it's interesting when you take a look at the list of approved phones. I looked at the Mavic 2 and the original notes. The list for Android was kind of like this. It was crazy. But that means, as a software tester, which is what I do for a living, every single one of those had to be tested. And they had to test everything. And that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort.
Right. And it's not just DJI. Even on the Xeno, people say it runs better on iOS. So it's all. It's because of that reason. They don't like iOS better. It's just easier to get up and running quicker. That's all.
And I think and I watched the video that Rick Smith did on Drone Valley, because a lot of people had asked him that question, about Android versus iOS, and he was saying evidently the way their code is written for DJI, it's much more friendlier towards iOS than Android. There's a great video he did on that. So
okay. I'll check it out.
Check that out sometime.
I'm not going to cut you off, but I think Deadthomas has something he wants to show the audience here. Let's throw it back to Bill and see what he's got in his hand there.
Yeah, what do you got, Bill?
Oh, this was made for me by a good friend of mine that's a member of Coast to Coast Drones. And he's probably working right now, but he's probably working on motorcycles if I know him. Brian Beardsley. And so I wanted to, let's see, where's my little button? Yes. As you can see, this is, oh, wow. Why is it doing the flashy thing? Don't do this. Stop. Is that better? Oh, wow. That was crazy. Why did it do that? I'm having a flashback. What case of death show am I at right now? But yeah, he made it for me. So I'll just do it this way. I'll copy his channel, and then I'll come over here, drop it in so that y'all can go check it out. But yeah, he's got some cool, colorful stuff and interesting stuff. I just wanted to show it off because he built it. He sent me it. He sent me a transmitter, he sent me a nice actual controller. I mean, a charger, balance charger. So he spent. Wait a minute. He's also sent me spare props, spare composite material, an FPV screen.
And ladies and gentlemen, Bill's going to
extra antennas.
Bill's going to fly that in Acro in a few minutes inside the house.
Oh no! My wife. No, I was telling him last night. I said, look. I said, you know, my wife came in and I was fiddling with the controller, and next thing you know, she looks over and she says, I don't care. No flying in the house. So I basically put everything away and just kind of started reading instructions and stuff. Because I mean, I know that this is pretty vicious, and I know that I could probably do some serious damage, especially to two little wiener dogs. So I'm not gonna. I did go outside and actually try to see if I could, and I'm glad I couldn't, but I really wanted to. I was trying, you know, and I was like, I was like, maybe he had all the switches in the right place, and me, like an idiot, I started playing. It was like, whoa, this is cool. It goes all the way up here and down here and up here and down there. You know, so I was like, maybe I did something wrong. Wait a minute. No, I was showing off my, he was showing $1,000 for Parrot Thermal Pro. Oh, he was talking, he wanted to talk about the, Dan was wanting to talk about the Parrot Thermal. Yeah, okay. He's giving me the link. Where's it coming up over here? Man, if it would work, that's what's killing me. The screen share for some reason is just being wacko when I do. Okay. Now see, this is what Dan was wanting to talk about. My ring just said somebody's out front. Anyway, yeah, so he was talking about this. I wonder if let's see what happens. Will they shoot me? I wonder if they'll shoot me.
You'll shut down after 5 seconds.
Huh?
Just joking.
Well, I don't hear any audio. So
what?
I know what. There we go. Oh, okay. So this is their answer to basically the DJI bird.
Yep.
It looks pretty sweet.
Wow. Who needs the dual?
Look at clear.
Look at that thing on the front.
This is okay. So it's got a manual. You got to manually. Okay, I'm confused. Well, I guess it's not going to really matter. The FLIR's not, because you're not going to need to pan around and try to get that perfect shot. So yeah, it's going to be fixed pretty much anyway.
Do we know the pricing on this? I guess
the quality's unreal, man.
Less than the DJI dual.
You know, I'm real impressed with the quality on this.
So you can still have the front camera too. Now what? So when you activate the thermal mode. Okay.
Do we know pricing on this, Bill?
No, this was Dan. He showed it to me, and I'm glad we got it up. Something cool to see.
Very interesting. You know, in looking at that in what I shot with the Duo, seriously, that looks better than what I had with the Dual.
Yeah, it does. It most definitely does.
I think Parrot's got to win. Well, see, that's the one place where Parrot's going to.
This is $1,000.
How much?
$1,000.
Oh my gosh, that's a steal.
The Xeno 2 will have the FLIR camera also.
Xeno 2? Where are we going with this? Xeno 2?
It'll be under 500.
And 8K.
Yeah, 8K.
And you can pull the camera out and it has a selfie stick installed.
Definitely.
Has a selfie stick installed. And you can just, yeah.
What's designed this drone and called the Drone Therapy Edition?
Yeah.
You can only purchase it one place.
Yeah, I would. That would be great. The Xeno 2.2. What happened to Xeno Nation? You still here? Oh, Xeno Nation, aka Ron. I just had to read back through that. Y'all gave me a chance to be on camera, so I figured I better do the best I could.
So we got a lot of people in the chat room tonight. You mentioned Dan in there. We got the Birdman back again.
We got two Dans in the house.
In there.
Two Dans in the house.
We got Drone Pool. We have Drone Pool in there. If nobody's checked out Drone Pool's channel, check his channel. He does everything. He builds drones,
squared.
Everything. Man's got a great channel.
Oh yeah, I'll see if I can do that. I could probably do that for you here. Let me go back over here. Oh, y'all keep going.
And Drone Pool also, he has great music in his videos. If you're a man of a certain age and you like that classic rock from the 60s, 70s, 80s, you'll love Drone Pool's music.
Oh yeah, all his videos are cool. Very cool. Man, we just got all kinds of people out front of the house, man. I just don't know what to do.
Maybe they're delivering drones.
No, actually, they said it would not be here until, get this, the 21st of February. But it is on the way. This is what I was going to do since it was. Okay, Ron, are you prepared for your Xeno update, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, wait. I got to do something first.
Okay, play the music.
Wait. I don't have any intro music, man. Just get.
We paid a lot of money for that music.
Take it away, Ron.
Okay. After that great introduction, this weekend on Saturday morning, we woke up. Hubson had issued a couple updates for the Xeno. One was a flight controller update, 1.0.47, and the main thing it did, the Xeno had an issue where you first took it off, it would drop back down again, low to the ground, or maybe even touching the ground. Where this flight control update now keeps it from going back down again once it initially launches off the auto launch button. If you take it up manually, you won't have that problem. But for me, the big addition was camera firmware version 3.4. 3.3 had cured the soft focus video issue where the video looked crisper and sharper. But the picture still stunk. If you took a still picture, it just looked like a screen grab off, not even a good screen grab. But now with 3.4, it looks like you're actually getting a real photograph and not just a screen grab. So that's great news. But I did find something that's was interesting in a bad way. And somebody told me about this. I can't remember who to give credit for, but they told me this, and I discovered it in my own testing. When you're doing video, if you just leave everything in auto, the video looks real good. But if you start messing around with the settings like exposure, iOS, the colors, the video becomes distorted in some ways. Like I filmed video where the ground was all kind of, I won't say out of focus, but it looked kind of weird. Now things higher up look good, but it definitely did something to it. So I would recommend not doing any change in your settings right now until they come out with 3.5. Just keep your camera video settings in auto when you're flying for the best result. On that note, I will throw it back to Bill Thomas to see where he wants to go next.
Well, what I was wanting to do, I had, if anybody that happens to be in coast to coast drones, and I will do this again. We'll see if it works for us. And bang. Okay, so that's the actual the YouTube channel, and then back over here we were talking today and stuff, and I met some people and I posted some pictures over the weekend at the RC Expo, the Northwest RC Expo that they happen to have over in Monroe, Washington. And I met some cool people over there, and they through a bunch of different situations and stuff that they've decided to kind of do the cool thing and kind of talk about drones for everybody, no matter what your anything, you know, what your orientations are, whether you be handicapped, whether you know what your race is, what your beliefs are. Just drones are cool and fun for everybody. That's what they're saying. So they actually had this cool little tent and everything. And you can see right here, it's called diversityindrones.org. So if y'all get a chance, like I said, you can just Google it or look it up. It'll come up every time because they're the only ones that I know. I really thought the logo was cool. Kind of see the DID in there and the drone and everything. It's really, really cool. So, but anyway, they like to train and help people. Anybody that's interested in learning how to fly a drone, they'll teach you how to fly. Like when I was there, they had this little bitty tent next to them, right next to the booth that was all set up. And you could go in and put the goggles on, and then you could fly the little, you know, they had little tiny whoops in there that you could fly so that you could start learning how to play or learn how to fly them and everything. And they would explain it to you, and, you know, and they were all totally immersed because they did the FPV experience. So it was really cool. And that was something that I wanted to share with everybody. And thank you for letting me show you. And it looks like we've got a pretty good bunch of people in here right now. So I'll tell you what, we're not going to worry about code words or anything. We're going to have a contest. And we're going to have a total of 5 questions. And we'll have to figure out who's, you know, got the most questions right at the end. But they're going to win. Basically what it is this was the anniversary of the second anniversary of Coast to Coast Drones and the second anniversary of the first upload I did on YouTube. So I wanted to kind of give a little bit of something back. But like I said, that we could furnish the drone, but we couldn't furnish the shipping. So it's for the U.S. contestants only. And it looks pretty much like that's what we got in the house. So with that being said, we're going to have drone news trivia. And so the guys are going to help me keep an eye on what's going on. And with question 1, we're about to proceed. What is the real name of Drone Girl? The American version. Of course, she was the first. So. What is the real name of Drone Girl?
Jeopardy music playing between the questions.
I didn't look it up because I wasn't sure about copyright infringement.
Yeah, well, I'll
what do we do?
Are you allowed to hum it even? Like
everybody's answering the question. Everybody's just saying I win.
Now, Chris,
Steve Carpenter! Steve Carpenter! Steve Carpenter!
Congrats.
Look at True Drone Reviews. Look what True Drone Reviews said.
Right.
Don't let me fall over. It's a new chair.
And Burbank got the other drone girl, the one from Ireland's Chrissy.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Okay. So we will now proceed with a little more difficult question. What year was the DJI Phantom 4 released? And I need a month and a year. And yes, you can Google. You can Google. Googling is allowed. Since we're weekly. Weekly.
I think I know. Can I we got an answer.
Nope.
Not yet.
August 2015.
Okay, there's
Bingo!
Winner.
We got a winner.
Art. Arthur gets the next one. All right.
Good job, Art.
Good job, Art. Good job,
Yes.
Art. All right. For the next question. This one's all we need is the year. Only thing we need is the year. When was the SEMA X5 released? What year? What year?
And we have Birdman. We have the Birdman in here. He's an expert on the SEMA X5.
What year was it released? What year was it released?
How many people in the chat here have owned a SEMA X5 at some point?
I have no idea.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Brian! Brian takes it home.
Ding, 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 ding.
Congrats, Brian.
All right. 2 questions left. 2 questions left. You're going to make me... What this? We're going to get 4 different people, and we're going to have to make the last question be a 2-pointer. All right. Which was released first? The DJI Phantom 3 or the 3DR Solo?
This question's for... I put this in because I knew Dan would be in the house tonight.
Dan says he's got bad lag, but I don't know what to do about that, buddy. Oh, and Ted 1010 takes it home with the DJI Phantom 3 as the 3DR Solo was released just months, literally like what, 3 months afterwards?
Yeah.
It was like within months. All right. So we've just as predicted, we now have 3 different folks with the answers correctly. All right. Now here, the final question. The final question. It's a 2-point question since we apparently don't have anyone that far ahead. What celebrity recently was targeted by a drone while in prison?
Oh, this is a good one. I'll give you a hint. It was nobody on this show.
That's a good one.
Boy, nobody's answering.
Oh, we stumped him.
Yeah, that's what I say.
got him on this one,
Googling's
Bill.
legal, man. Oh, Steve Carpenter for the win. 3 points. Steve Carpenter. That's 3.
Steve, were you the one that was flying the drone at Bill Cosby in the prison? I think it was Steve. He's been posting a lot more Mavic videos lately.
And since I know that Steve can get a hold of me on Facebook, Steve, when you get a chance, please just send me a personal message on Facebook, and I will get your information to where I might ship your. And it's going to be a surprise little drone because I already showed the guys the one I wanted to send. So it's going to be a surprise. They all think it's cool. As a matter of fact, even, who was it, Bill or Ron? You said you were thinking about. No, it was Bill.
I was thinking about getting one, Bill.
Yeah.
I like it.
Steve will probably stop flying his Maverick once he gets this in.
Well, I think he'll stop flying his Mavic in the house when he gets there. So it's one of those cool things. Okay, so that was actually cool. I had fun doing that. We've got our first contest winner officially. So, like I said, Steve, just message me anytime on Facebook with your personals, and I will. Because what we're planning to do is ship it straight direct to you, so we don't have to worry about anything. So if there's any issue with it, basically it'll be like a gift type thing, so you could return it if there's a problem or anything like that.
Hey, Steve, when you get this thing, would you maybe come on the show and fly it live on the show? Uh-oh. You got the Friday Jason coming. But while we have a dead minute here, I I want to go to what I call the toy corner of the show. I know we talk a lot about DJI, and a lot of guys out there say, "Oh, all they do is talk about DJI." So I'm going to call this the toy corner. Just the other day, it's been all over the internet. It's a company called Wingsland. They make a couple different drones. They make like a real small selfie drone. Brian True Drone Reviews has one, and they make a couple models, but they have one called the Wingsland M1. It used to be called a different name. Birdman Cruise knows the old name, but it's on sale now for $176 over at Banggood, along with other sites. And this drone used to be over a $300 drone when it first came out. It's a couple years old. It may be 3 years old, but for a toy drone, it has a 3-axis gimbal, 1080p camera, and it has supposed to have 25 minutes of battery life. I don't know the range on it, but a lot of guys are interested in it at that price point. It packs a lot of advanced features at a low price point. Did you see this, Bill Thomas? This one posted around last couple days, this Wingsland M1? Bill's lost the sound.
No, I haven't lost my sound. I was playing with the drone. Okay. I didn't want to override you, and I couldn't hear what you were saying. And Larry, I mean, Steve, it popped up on our channel or on ours that Steve came up first. So I was just looking at the chat. I don't know what else to tell you. There was like 2 seconds behind you, and then when his popped in, I don't know what it looked like on yours, but
on my screen, Steve's popped up first too.
So that's the only, because all three of us were watching our chats, so it wasn't like it was just mine. So I don't want you to think that we had done something else, but I had went back and looked, and he had said it before you in my chat too. So, oh, the minivan. Oh, go for it, Ron. Go back to it. I was just trying to make sure that he understood we weren't trying to slight nobody, because
yeah,
he answered all the questions fair.
I got a couple friends in the chat room here. Birdman, he's interested in getting this at this price of $176, and True Drone Reviews, he says it's called the old mini vet. Brian, did you ever have this drone when it came out? Brian has had about every drone ever made at one point or another. J Drone has this. He made a couple videos of it back in the day. I mean, I'm not recommending. I don't remember the reviews. I don't know how good the thing is, but again, it packs a lot of punch.
I don't know what I did to Jason, but he just kind of disappeared from my life all at once. I was like, okay. He just kind of went poof. Anyway, I wasn't trying to change the subject. I'm trying to find the wait a minute here. Oh, and the thing about the slow boat from China is what the Tiny Hawk is on, because like that's what they said was going to be. Okay, so we're looking at
Tiny Hawk's on the way.
Yeah, but they said it was going to be like February 22nd.
You got to
get here.
And you got the Tiny Hawk with the controller, right? And the goggles.
Yeah, and it comes with the box goggles. It comes with the base controller, and it's what is it? FR Sky. So,
yeah, that's a common one. Yeah, with FR Sky, you get the you get the OSD on the screen. So
see M1 Mini.
So who in that chat? Who's buying Who's buying this M1 mini vet for $170?
I think it was Mike that was talking about more than anybody.
Yeah, give me a thumbs up if you're buying this M1 for $176.
For $176. Dun, dun, dun.
Whoever gets it, why don't you review it and come on the show and talk about it?
You should always wear shoes when you're sitting at your desk, because you might kick one part of the wooden desk with your bare foot.
Cozy.
Ow.
Yeah, somebody buy that M1 and come on the show and talk about it.
Yeah, so we know if it's kind of like where Brian bought the. Have you noticed that the what is it, the Inago fly is now like $30, and right. I was like, well,
Brian couldn't even get it flying right. Birdman makes a good point. His tax money is coming.
All right, here we go. I found that bad boy. Dun dun dun. Dun. Drum roll. Yeah, that's a good price, man, right there.
You know what that looks like?
What I had heard was you can see the gimbal it sometimes it would shake real bad. So if you had like say 8 to 10 mile an hour winds, that it would kind of wobble. I mean, you would still get a good 1080p picture, but it would kind of wobble.
That's reminiscent of an X-Star Premium.
I was thinking the same thing, Bill. I knew we were going to say that. It looks like a knockoff of the X-Star. Well, again, let's not expect this to perform like the DJI Phantom 5 here. It's $176. If it, most toy drones, have
here's the funny
all over the place. So if this is a big improvement of that, it'll be nice.
The funny thing is, okay, look at this. When the Mini Vet came out, was 5.8 available?
Yeah, 5.8 was more common 3 years ago than it is now. They all switched over. The toy drone makers all switched over the Wi-Fi. 5.8 used to be the big thing. Okay,
so it's probably just the Mini Vet, and they've cleaned their shelves. And okay, I guess the thing to check into is how available are fresh batteries, and when was the last production of this drone?
Well, it probably doesn't run. If it doesn't run on a proprietary battery, then it doesn't make any difference. If it just runs.
Yeah, it does run. It does run a proprietary battery.
Oh, now we got a problem.
I'm pretty sure it does.
Anybody?
It looks like yeah. Hang on. I got you. We'll get right here.
Anybody in chat know if it runs on a proprietary battery? Oops.
Yeah, look right here. Here, I'll show you. That's a proprietary battery right there.
Uh-oh, you're right.
You see that in the back right there?
Yeah, that's good investigative reporting, Bill.
Well, it's like I said, and we don't know how fresh those batteries are. If they're still making batteries, then you're good to go. You're going to get 25 minutes, 1080p, but you're going to have to fly on really, really light days, not a whole lot of wind. Because you can look at that gimbal, it's just not made to take a whole lot. But that's just, that's my opinion. Because the videos, if I remember the videos, you would see that when a good breeze would hit it, it would just kind of rock.
Well, we're gonna get one sent down to Bill in Florida. Next time a hurricane comes along, he'll take it up and see how steady the video is.
Oh yeah, that's what we need to do. We need to go. We need tornado chasers, and we need the Wi-Fi feed, and we just send the drone into the tornado.
Well,
we're going to broadcast until she drops.
The day before the hurricane hit, I went up with the Mavic Pro, and it was like 35, 40 mile an hour winds. But I did it on purpose because I wanted to take some pictures of the roof in case we had roof damage. So I wanted to do it before. But I'll tell you what, I was impressed. 35 mile an hour winds. I had the Mavic Pro up there, and it handled itself really well. I mean, you can hear the motors compensating. I mean, they were going 100% big time, but it held its position. I was able to get some pictures, and it was probably about 35, 40 mile an hour winds.
Wow, impressive. True Drone Reviews is called Bill Jim Acosta Thomas.
No, I'm Bill Deadthomas, the hippie guy that used to go see the Grateful Dead all the time. But that's what started out. I started out. This is the thing. Deadthomas came from when the internet started. Yes, children. Bill was alive when the internet started. I was one of the first people to get an email address. Oh, and wow. I used to follow the Grateful Dead. Last name's Thomas, so Deadthomas. There came, Sometimes I was even known as Grateful Thomas, but most of the time Deadthomas. So, and that's just word. And so I just moved on to my gamer tag. Then it moved on to now my my pilot tag. So, just so. And since there's two Bills on the show, we may just have to start calling me DT and just Bill. So Bill would be Bill, the drone reviewer, and then DT would be me, or because since it's drone therapy, it could still be DT since it would be me. So yeah. Okay.
Makes sense. I like it.
At least in my world. Oh, okay.
And anybody have another story they want to go on to? I got a quick one, and then we'll go on to. I want to ask Bill about the Phantom 5. But how about a quick story? Everybody knows it's a Super Bowl weekend. coming up Sunday. We have the Patriots versus the LA Rams. It's funny to say LA Rams again after all these years, but I don't know who everybody's going for, but that's not the point here. They're worried about drones, I guess, crashing a party at the Super Bowl Sunday, and they have a new 3D radar system that makes sure no unauthorized drones visit the Super Bowl. Has anybody read this article, and what do you think of it?
I didn't read that actual article. I told you the article that I read. so I mean, it would make sense to me because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want, they're going to think, I've got mine, what is it they call it? Jailbreaked, and I'm just going to fly it right into the show. Kind of like that Karma we saw crash at the baseball stadium that time.
Right.
So,
well, what I saw today, Ron, in conjunction with that was tomorrow there's a no-fly zone that goes into effect tomorrow, and that if you are caught flying a drone, you face up to a $20,000 fine.
Ouch. So
they're taking it pretty seriously. I mean, you can't even think about within so much of a radius. I think it's like maybe a 2-mile radius of the Mercedes-Benz Stadium where they're playing in Atlanta.
Do you think that 3D radar system that they talk about will that just detect the drones, or will that like stop them from coming in?
I don't think it'll stop them. I think it'll detect them, and I think it's probably pinpoint accurate. And they'll be able to send the police right there. I mean, there'll be no questions asked, and somebody's going to go in the pokey, and somebody's going to have a big fat fine.
Right. Oh, on a footnote to that story, did you see the follow-up more than a week later now, that Newark airport drone incident that we covered on the last show? That they still haven't found any hard evidence suggesting that there was ever a drone at any point. Some people even theorize they saw a plastic bag flying around up there.
This whole thing, I think I read, and I may be wrong, but this was also right around the time it was like the I think 10-year anniversary when Captain Sullenberger landed his plane in the Hudson.
Right.
And I think they probably, if I'm not mistaken, I think they may have asked him about it, and he pretty much laughed. He thought it was funny. I mean, if you have any semblance in thinking about this, and anything at all about drones, how preposterous and ludicrous that this is. I mean, it's just so off the wall. It's not funny. It really is.
I think reporters, they just love to put up a story about a drone nowadays.
They're trying to incite something here. It's not, they're trying to make news, okay, with stuff like this. And there's no business. You don't make news where there is no news, okay? Go talk about a dog getting rescued out of a storm drain or something like that. Don't be talking about making up stuff like, oh yeah, I saw a drone at 3,500 feet and it was going at 280 miles an hour. Kind of, come on. Seriously, guys.
If they did see that, it was a military drone.
Yeah, more than likely. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. Hey, listen, before we get into the Phantom 5, I want to give a shout out to Dustin Dunnell, a great YouTube reviewer that just got a silver play button last week. Everybody, go visit his channel and, give him a shout out on Facebook. He's a great guy, and he definitely deserves that silver play for getting 100,000 subscribers.
Dustin's a great guy. I've talked to him a couple of times. He's had some good chats with him. He really is good, Ron. You're right. Congratulations, Dustin.
That's right. Double D's a great man.
Okay, let's get into the Phantom 5 rumors. You ready, Bill?
I'm ready, Ron.
Okay. This week, Drone DJ, that's the story I read. He posted several things about the Phantom 5 rumors, when it was going to come out and blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to let you cover all, but I'm going to skip to the part that interests me the most. He predicts there'll be 2 models, which you predicted also, Bill. He said there'll be, of course, the interchangeable lens one that everybody talks about, which is, fine. I mean, that's great or whatever. I'm kind of not. I'm an interchangeable camera guy, but I'm not so much of a drone, but he mentioned that it'll be a 1-inch sensor model with a 3x optical zoom built in it. Now that is the one that I'll save my money up for.
I agree with you, Ron.
What do you think, Bill?
No, that's the one. That's the one I'm definitely interested in because, I can tell you right now. I did a video on this, and almost everybody says that the one with the interchangeable lenses is going to be well over 2,000, and they're right. It's going to be very pricey, and I think the one that you and I are interested in, I think that's just going to be under the radar, maybe like 1875, 1975. But I think it's going to be packed with incredible features. The one thing that I've been telling people is it's going to have that 6-sided obstacle avoidance, and it's going to be true. It's not going to be like, everybody said, with the Mavic 2, oh, we got 360 optical avoidance. Well, not all the time. I think this is going to be an all the time kind of thing. And that camera is a game changer. Having a 3x optical zoom on there with a true 1-inch sensor, that's a total game changer. I absolutely love that. Talking about a top speed of about 55 miles an hour, which is fantastic. Battery life, probably about 35, maybe approaching 40 minutes. I mean, it's going to be, it's really, DJI has ramped it up a notch. One of the things that I did want to mention here is, the article let in, and it talked about the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0 being completely out of stock right now. It is not available on DJI's website. And hey, Kestelud, Drone DJ, had put out an article earlier about that. And what he said was that this was due to a parts shortage. It wasn't due to anything else. So they were waiting for more parts. Well, lo and behold, evidently this isn't a parts shortage. They sold out of them in advance. And he dropped a hint when in the article about the whole DJI fraud kind of a thing and their parts pricing and everything. As far as that playing into it, I don't know if that did or that didn't. But I think what happened was they had a great seller. I mean, the Phantom 4 Pro V2.0, everybody that's had that has absolutely loved it. Comparing it, to the Phantom 4 that you have, Ron, with the different Lightbridge versus OcuSync 2.0. And I can tell you, with the OcuSync 2.0 compared to what I had with the old Mavic Pro, it's night and day. I mean, I went out, and the big way to test that is I did a live stream, and I did it from the Mavic 2 Pro out behind my house. It was crystal clear reception 1,000 feet away. I mean, it was just it was just fantastic. So, one of the things, I think he's wrong with the timing. He's talking about April or May. I think DJI is targeting March, because if you remember our trivia question tonight, the one question was if the Phantom 4 originally debuted in March of 2016. So what a better way. 3 years, a 3-year anniversary, coming out with a new Phantom 5. I think that would just be absolutely fantastic. And it's going to be a game changer, because it's still going to be what I would refer to as a prosumer type of drone. It's still going to have the professional type of things that people are looking for, and it's still going to have the things that interest consumers, and it's going to kind of bridge that gap between, ramping up to an Inspire and getting this. And the other thing I wanted to say too, and he didn't mention this in the article, they're going to come out, and I firmly believe this, and I've been saying this all along, they're going to come out with an Inspire 3 at the same time, because if you remember, the Phantom 4 Pro and the Inspire 3, they both came out at the same time in Los Angeles. And I think that's where this type of event's going to be, because this is a more professional type of drone, not necessarily consumer. I think that event's going to be held over in Los Angeles, and I think it's going to be in March.
So you're saying a month and a half?
I think so.
Bill, big question here is, you mentioned that the one with the interchangeable lens will be over 2,000, but is there any way they can keep the Phantom 5, the base model, the one we talked about with the 1-inch 3x obstacles, at the $14.99 price point that's been? Like the Phantom 4 was $14.99. The Phantom, what do you call it? The Phantom 4 Pro was $14.99. The Phantom 4 Pro version 2 was $14.99. Will we hang on to that $14.99 price point?
No, I think we're going to see a price point. I think you'll see at least $300, if not $400 more. It will be under 2,000, but it's gonna be knocking on the door of 2,000, but it won't go over that. I think they're pretty firm about that. I think the one thing, and I know Bill's talked about it too, when we've talked about the Spark Pro or the Advanced Spark. One thing that they're keeping Wi-Fi on it simply to keep the cost down, because that OcuSync 2.0, that's going to raise your price. That's going to set a whole new kind of bar as far as price is concerned. And I think that's going to play into it. And they're also talking, it's going to have what they call, it's still going to be recognizable as a Phantom drone, but it's not going to be what you think of a Phantom drone right now. And the other thing that nobody's really kind of talked about, and I'm kind of crossing my fingers because everybody's asking me about this, is retractable gear to allow for like 360 camera. If DJI went crazy and they did something like this, that is just going to be like off the charts, incredible. They could have. I don't know. That's a possibility.
It would be. And people are interested in this type of thing too, because a lot of people are already modding Insta360s on like toy drones to get that 360 look. So and maybe they don't put that in the base Phantom 5, but maybe there's another Phantom 5 Pro with the 360 camera and the retractable legs.
And they're also talking too. Now remember, the smart controller is going to be compatible with anything that has OcuSync 2.0. And I think that smart controllers, you'll be able to bundle that with the new Phantom 5. That'll be something you'll be able to get, and you'll be able to you'll be able to get that long awaited discount that I know Bill's very interested.
I think it's going to be standard with the new Phantom and the new Phantom 5 Pro. I think that new controller is going to come out with every drone that has OcuSync 2.0 from this point on. And that's going to jack your price point up about another $300 to $400 on every drone that they come out with for that reason alone. And the reason that they're having all these issues with the firmware update with Android, and the Android is the base system for that smart controller, that's why I don't think that we're going to see the Phantom 5 until second quarter, but we are going to see probably a new Spark Pro drone sometime in the near future. But the reason, that's why I'm thinking, because remember they'd already told us that because I'd even asked them myself, and you'd seen it too. We'd asked them on Twitter, is this, and they said every drone that has OcuSync 2.0 from this point on forward, yes, this will be the controller for it. So, so we know that already, and we already know that they're having major issues still with that controller, which was what we had heard to begin with, other than the FCC thing, was what was delaying the release. And now here we are with, they're having issues with getting it updated, and people are having problems getting it registered and getting it opened up and getting the firmware upgraded, all this craziness going on with it. So that's why I don't think that it's going to be
March
until probably, I'm figuring maybe June to August, somewhere in that time frame.
Okay.
But that's my logic with it. That's what I'm thinking, because there's just, unless they're just going to try to bilk everybody with a little boba. I mean, because don't you want a brand new controller with a $2,000 bird?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm thinking, Oh, yeah. I don't want one like I had before. Hey, Chris, how you doing? We've been talking. Oh, Nemo's in here, and Nemo's one of my FPV guys over in Coast to Coast Drones. He's and when we all get wound up on this Phantom 5 thing, I want to show something from all three of the guys that are kind of helping me build up the FPV side of that, and then maybe we can have a little quick. We might run a little bit long. If anybody has to bail out, I'll totally understand. But I wanted to kind of give them a shout out and show their stuff too. But because I know we, like Ron was saying, sometimes we're talking about DJI, sometimes we're talking about, so just to make sure that we can kind of get everybody involved and make sure that that's cool with you all. So what do you think, Ron? What do you think is going to go on with the Phantom 5?
Well, both of you guys have, but I could buy both theories or whatever. Both of them sound good to me. I don't really have this, strong opinion of my own, except that I hope at some point, I mean, my drones are fine now. If it comes out in March, if it comes out in October, it doesn't matter to me. I'm happy flying what I have right now.
Yeah, that's me too.
Phantom 4 is still great. The Mavic Pro is still great. The Spark's still great. If they release something new and I can save my money up and upgrade eventually, fine. But I'm happy, what I'm flying with.
About the air.
but no, what I think would be interesting is, right now, I'm sure that DJI's in no hurry to fill the stock back in that Phantom 4 Pro version 2 because the Mavics are doing so great for them now that they probably don't really need to worry about the Phantom, but to top the Mavics now, once they get a Phantom 5 out with that 1x sensor and a 3x zoom, now they'll have a combination of both Mavics, and now they'll be able to win people back from the Mavic back to the Phantom line again, which hasn't happened in a long time. The Mavics, when the first Mavic came out, it kind of took the shine away from the Phantom series for a little bit, and then they came out with the Phantom Pro, and it got a little bit of the shine back again. But then when the Mavic 2 Pro and zoom came out, it took the shine back again. So it'll be interesting to see the Phantom become the top dog again at an affordable price. Well, affordable compared to the Aspire or something like that. So that's my thoughts.
Pretty cool. I mean, I was just, that's my, no, don't get me wrong. I'm biased because I want a new Spark. I want a new Spark more than anything because I could kick my own backside for selling my little blue Spark and getting the Mavic Air. The Mavic Air had a couple little trick ponies in it, the slow zoom or the slow, I don't know, but it just, I don't like it as much as I did the Spark. Now, if you give me the Spark with a 3-axis gimbal in 4K, which it could have shot in the first place because the sensor was there, yes, I'll be happy. Okay. Now, guys, so if y'all can hang around for just a minute or two, I would really like to pay tribute to the 3 guys that are helping me with the FPV. So I want to show some of their videos. First up, unless Brian's page flickers again, will be Brian Beardsley. His channel is actually Brian Lee FPV. So with that being said, let me get this started up here and jump over to this one. And hopefully it'll work. I won't go crazy. Next up, Nemo. This was a premiere too. Look at this. Oh, so he doesn't have video, so we'll just add commentary. So just start speaking at random about what we say. So how did you get him to let you in the arcade, man? So they just like, oh, okay, yeah, just bring your whoop in. start going crazy. Ron, anybody? Can y'all hear me? Anybody?
You're doing good, Bill. I'm in the chat room right now, but I love that the first video where the guy flew over the ocean.
Yeah. Well, Nemo just put this up like a few minutes ago, and I had told him in Coast that I was going to put it on in here so that we could watch it. But he didn't have any. He's got a really cool cinematic that he's got also. But I wanted everybody to see this so that, and if you notice, you can see his channel down here. So please go to, you can see his channel name and everything right down here where you can see my little finger right now. Go to his channel and sub up so that you can see more quality FPV content. And as soon as this gets done, which is, we got about another minute of it. The thing about this is, why is nobody freaking out in the arcade? I mean, apparently you all do this a lot. Oh, wow, there's ashtrays next to the games? See, what is that, Beetlejuice? Was Beetlejuice one of the prizes? Looked like Beetlejuice was one of the prizes. It still blows my mind that, oh, nice.
Ah, you got skills.
Nice.
That's what, you'll be flying like that.
Skills.
That's what I said. Look. Oh, whoa. Yes.
Holy
yes.
cow.
Yes. Yes. Oh, cool.
Wow.
Very cool. Awesome. Yes. That was awesome. All righty. And next up will be Mr. Joe Goodman. This is a really, really good, a lot of y'all have seen this before. So I will put this up and full screen it so y'all can get it.
Look at all that snow. Oh,
cool. Man, I swear to you, it looks like he bounces it off the water here in a minute. I mean, he gets right down on the water. He lives in British Columbia.
That's beautiful.
Look at it. I mean, butter smooth, man.
That is beautiful.
I'm afraid to fly FPV over the water.
So, yeah, but wasn't that killer? So sure. We will stop that and go back to everybody else. So is there anything else you gentlemen like to cover this evening?
I think I covered all my topics. Unless Bill H has something we didn't go over.
I'm good too. I'm real good. I'm looking forward to getting some more testing in for waypoints this weekend.
Okay, yeah. And we're going to try to do something a little special next week. We'll kind of give you a heads up the more details we get about it. Keep your fingers crossed. If not, we will still be back next week with our normal craziness and information and news and whatever else we can try to get you. And thank you, Dan. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Jim, Rick, Art, Ted, everybody for coming in here. Cole, everybody else. Let's see. I'll scroll back. Did I miss anybody else? Let's see. Mike, Birdman, everybody. Making sure. Please feel free to come back. We'll be back here at the same drone time and same drone channel next week. Please, please, please tune in. And I will let my co-hosts say their good nights. And then I will say the finale good night in a moment. Bill.
Ron and Bill, thank you so much. I can't say how much I absolutely thoroughly. I look forward to this as much as my own show, maybe even a little more sometimes, because there's never a dull moment. It was a great show tonight, and Ron, thank you so much for that update on the Xeno. It was great seeing that latest video and seeing the improvements on that. And thank you for your due diligence. Hubson should give you Xeno, the next Xeno for free, maybe the next 5 Xenos for free. Okay. You're doing a lot. You're doing a lot of great work there, Ron. And thank you so much for that. Having a blast with the Waypoints 2.0. Going to get that fired up again, and hopefully crossing my fingers from some good weather this weekend. That really seemed to spark a lot of interest. And I told my wife, I said, I had a feeling that people were real interested, and that video just kind of took off. So I'm kind of happy about that. But again, a great show tonight, guys. Looking forward to a great show next weekend. Like Bill said, we got something in the works, so hopefully we'll get that buttoned up, and Bill will get out the communication of that. And I'm going to hand it off to Zeno Nation himself, Mr. Ron Brown.
Hi. Hello. Thanks, Bill. I just want to congratulate Steve Carpenter again for winning the drone, and I definitely want him to somehow get in his channel, show it off, and maybe come on the show when he gets it. And I want to thank both Bills, Bill Thomas for having me on the show, and Bill H for being such a great co-host. It's the only show I do, and I really enjoyed it. It's kind of a labor of love. It's great hanging out with those two guys. Plus the audience, the chat room. We fill the chat room up with a lot of great people that enjoy the hobby and, fly all sorts of different crafts. So it's just a great experience. And I have a suggestion for Bill H.
Yes, sir.
I'm saying it live here. The whole world can hear, but I think it'd be interesting. And I loved your waypoint video where you flew around that lake in the back of your house. I love that little lake, and you flew around every quarter. But here's my suggestion. Go out. I think it costs $20. Go out and buy the Litchi app and fly and do it with Waypoints 2 on the DJ Go app, and do the same flight in the Litchi app, and tell us what the differences are, and which, the differences, which one you prefer, which one's the better option. I think that, I'm not telling you what to do. I think that would be an interesting video. And I think you would get a lot.
That is, Ron. That's a great idea.
Yeah, but okay, can I ask something? If you install and use Litchi in your bird, is there not something embedded somewhere in there? And does that negate his warranty on his bird or not?
I don't know that. It probably is. So I mostly fly. All my quads are old, so my warranty's going anyway. So
right, yeah, I get that.
Yeah. And Bill only has the Phantom 2 Pro at this point, so I could see your hesitation. Sorry, that was been a better suggestion if you had a old Phantom 4.
I just wanted. I didn't know if they had, if maybe they had gotten together finally or what. I just wanted to make sure that, before he installed it and started running it, he looked into whether it was cool or not.
That's a good point, Bill Thomas.
Thank you, Bill.
I withdraw my suggestion. Unless he could find unless he could find his old Mavic Pro laying around in the junk room or something like that, where it's already out of warranty. I've flown the Litchi on the Phantom 4 Pro, the Mavic Pro, the Spark, and I've never seen it glitch, lose control. I know people will tell you they've had flyaways and blah, 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 but I've never seen one issue in it. And if you guys know Sean, I don't know Sean's last name, but he's the drone seeker from Spain. He does almost a regular thing of using the Litchi app on all his old Phantom 3s, and he's never had an issue with it. But I'm not advising Bill H to use it with his Mavic 2 Pro, though, but I'm just saying.
No, I've heard the same thing, that it's incredible. Yeah, and even Dan Drone Worship, when he had his Phantom 3, he was talking about how much better Litchi was than the actual DJI app, because there's so much in the DJI app that monitors everything and records everything and timestamps everything, and which is all well and good if you want to get everybody else to track you, but you don't necessarily need it because you're the guy flying. So. Right. Yeah. Maybe that's what the Litchi does. It doesn't take so much control or something. I don't know for sure.
And Litchi has one other trick up its sleeve. If you don't own the expensive DJI goggles, you could take the Litchi app and it'll split the screen in two, and you could put in a pair of cheap VR goggles, that you could buy cheaply, and you could fly FPV with a Litchi app on a $10 pair of FPV goggles you got at Best Buy clearance rack, instead of a $350 DJI goggles.
Have you done those, Ron? Have you done the Litchi versus the updated Go 4?
As far as
have you done videos and testing for yourself personally?
I think I've done videos where I've shown like waypoint flights and the results of the Litchi app, but I've never showed the mechanics of it. You know, like I've never shown the screenshot. Like I have a real nice video that I took in the fall where I flew around the bay in Margate, and I flew all these different points with the Litchi app, and then back to the bridge at sunset. And it's one of my better videos, and you know, I couldn't have flew it that good manually as I did, you know, program.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I want somebody to help me cheat. Tell me what buttons to push. I don't want to read nothing. I just want to fly.
He pre-programmed it for you, right?
And like, I know if I got a Brian, and if I go ask Brian, I'm like, Brian, just what do I have to flip? I got a feeling because he told me he was going to flash it and he was going to set it up with his pits like he flies.
Right.
Okay. But I got a feeling because he started saying, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this before you start installing, you know, beta flight and all this stuff. And I'm like, I get this strange feeling that he's just going to make me start from scratch. I don't know, because I did go, like I said, I turned it on and I turned on the battery of the drone, but then I didn't know what to do. And see, it actually does stuff. It beeps and there's like something that comes on the screen. But that's as far as Bill gets, because I'm used to the toy stuff where I just go.
Right. Well,
it don't work the same way.
Well, Bill, what's going to happen is there's going to be one button, probably the top button on the left will be your arm button. So that'll be probably a 2-switch switch, and that'll be your arm and your disarm. Then there'll be another switch down below. Well, that'll be a 3-switch button. That'll be, you know, your acro, your horizon, and your angle modes. And angle is just regular flying, and horizon you have a little bit more, not quite as stable. And then acro, of course, you're totally kind of unstabilized. And that's going to be your 2 main switches. I mean, I'll probably have a turtle mode button. Turtle mode, for anybody who doesn't know, it flips your FPV drone over. Well, you don't have to go pick it up.
This is an older radio, so one of the switches in the back is broken. That's not one that's important, is it?
No. It's probably more switches there than you need for the fly that racing drone. You're probably only going to need like 3 switches to fly the racing drone.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm wondering if he's already, and if he's watching, he's going to be like, what? Yes, Rick, I surely did, and I really appreciate that. I'm very grateful for that offer, my friend. But as you see, we didn't need that tonight because I'm pretty sure Steve lives somewhere in the United States. But yes, I am very grateful for that, my friend. But hopefully, you know, if what we're trying to do is get more viewership and be interesting enough to where people, you know, like we sell T-shirts, we sell other stuff. Bill's got. Speaking of which, Bill, where do I find your swag again?
Okay, you have to see me right now for it. I don't have a website yet.
I was looking on. I was like, oh, I'm going to order a T-shirt, and I was like, what? Well, okay, not Twitter, not Instagram. Facebook.
You see, what I do is I get all my merchandise is from Vistaprint.
Okay.
I get very good deals with them on everything. And I mean, that hat, it's an embroidered hat, and it's a very, very decent price.
Well, we were going to say good night, and we keep finding new subjects. So it looks like we've got plenty, but we've got another. Okay, if the secret plan for next week does not come through, we will go back into talking more about FPV and more about Phantom 5 and Xeno. And is there some new toys? Oh, we haven't talked about, what is it, FEMI any this week. So that's something else we can talk about too.
Okay. What's going to FEMI next week? Anybody in the chat room, can you recommend any subjects that you would like to hear us talk about next week?
Well, I think Red Dog just got here.
We'll try to cover it.
Well, see, Red Dog just got here. Rick's still saying, oh, yes, Xeno. Rick, did you see? I don't know if you saw it in the when I posted it earlier, when I had the thing that I made for Ron. So anyway, but I'm talking and babbling and rambling on. So like Bill's already said good night. Now, Ron, would you like to say good night now?
Yeah. Sorry, I was in the middle and I got on that big rant about suggesting Bill test the Litchi versus the DJI Go 4 Waypoints 2.0. And you made the great comment that he probably shouldn't do it because of the warranty, and I kind of agree with you. So you could test it, Bill H, but I'm not responsible. So I will say my good nights, and I hope to see everybody next week at the same time. And I'm going to throw it back to Bill Thomas for the final good nights of the evening here.
Okay, and I thank you very much, gentlemen. And always, I am very grateful that you join me for each and every show that we put out here. And everybody that's in the chat, please come back and see us again next week. As we said, we're hoping to have a surprise. And if the surprise comes through, you will know about it before next week. So you'll understand why we're so hush-hush right now, because we're trying to work it out. Very cool person. We hope that everybody would like them. I may even mention to a friend of mine about maybe trying to get them to sneak in for the same time. Come to think of it now, that would actually be pretty cool because it would cover a lot of, okay, anyway. But hopefully, if not, please come back next week because we've got a lot of interesting stuff to start off with, a lot of stuff to continue speaking about. And we love having you all here. And with that, I will say good night. Live long and prosper.